believe, yeah, Lions minus 170 looks good here. I think the Lions are definitely on a roll. They are healthy. The Cowboys didn't really show me too much from that win. If anything, it showed me that there's still a lot of issues that they have to deal with. Obviously, there's some definite. I don't know what's going on between Dak and CeeDee Lamb, but he seems frustrated despite them winning the game. He wasn't getting the ball enough, but I like what I saw from Torben. It could be a close game here, but I do believe the Lions are going to win this one on the road. I'm also have not been impressed how the Cowboys have been playing at home, and I like the receiving prop. I like Amon St. Brown going over 75.5 passing yards in this game, or receiving yards he will get, and that's because he's been really showing out lately, been very consistent, and with Jameson Williams also being a problem, he's going to have more opportunities to catch the ball against a pretty hobbling defense when it comes to the Cowboys.
Yeah, no, I like that too. And I think that I was just showing JB that for me, I would take David Montgomery touchdown, James Williams over 50, and CeeDee Lamb over 80 because like he's Dallas's only weapon, really not only weapon, but he's going to want the ball. And I think Detroit's got a really mess secondary. You look at what DK Metcalf did to them. JSN had some opportunities. It was just I'm not really impressed by their defense. I think both these teams are definitely not teams that I would take to beat San Francisco, Minnesota. When those teams are out there, I wouldn't take either of these teams. So next game we got a Sunday night game. It's going to be the Bengals at the Giants. I really like the Bengals in the spot. The Giants had a really good game last week in Seattle. Their pass rush was insane. That's the only way they're going to win this game. If Dexter Lawrence plays really well, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, if all those guys play like they did against Seattle, they will have a shot. And they're getting back Malik Neighbors, which could make the game more interesting. I think once he's in there, I'd take him over 65 yards. I think that he's going to be motivated. He's going to be ready to get back in there. But I would take as my number one prop for this game, I'm taking Jamar Chase to get 80 yards and touchdown at least. I think the Bengals are in must-win territory. They played a lot better the past few weeks. You look at the game against the Chiefs, they played well. They should have been in Baltimore last week. So I think the Bengals would win this game rather handily. I think that I'd take them maybe minus 6.5 or something like that. I think they'll get it done. Daniel Jones played well, but I don't know if it's sustainable. The Giants' offensive line's been better. So, there's some bright spots with the Giants. If they win this game, they could get themselves into a spot where they could be competing for having a meaningful season rather than just waiting for the draft. So I think it'll be a good one, but I think the Bengals will definitely try and have a statement win. They need this game, and they're the better overall team with more championship experience. They have a better quarterback. And, the Giants, they played their best game I've seen in a while against Seattle, and they still almost lost the game if it wasn't for a drop. And then if they didn't block a field goal, we could be having a different conversation about them. But, yeah, I think I have full confidence in the Bengals. I take this actually. If I choose one game that I think is a lock for this week, I take the Bengals. I know that we haven't done a survivor/lock pick, but I think in this spot, I just think Cincinnati's way better.
Yeah, I think what you just said, it's right on the money. I think this is a lock game for the Bengals, especially the money line. The money line is at minus 200, but I'm going to go on record and say they're going to completely destroy the spread here. The Bengals, I'm going to say minus 10.5. So that's kind of my player prop, as well as liking Joe Burrow going for over 264 yards passing. T. Higgins showed a lot last week, giving Jamar Chase less double team matchups. He was freed more. So it's going to be a pretty great showing, I think, for the Bengals. Obviously, it's on the road with the bright lights, but we know Joe Burrow will be ready for that. I think Zach Moss is questionable, but I expect if Zach Moss is not ready to suit up and play this game, which I'd be surprised, but they do have Chase Brown to be able to obviously mix it up with the different looks. I like also Mike Gesicki being pretty much kind of a hybrid wide receiver and tight end. And they also have I think a rookie, I forget his name, but the rookie tight end to be able to have some jumbo formation. So I do like the Bengals here to show out. And I know you went with the Jamar Chase, so I'm going with the passing prop here for Joe Burrow, 264.5 passing yards for him to do the over. And I guess I would like the alternative spread, minus 10.5 Bengals.
Okay, cool. And the last game we have is the Bills and Jets. Both teams are coming off back-to-back losses. The Bills definitely are, I think, they started the season so hot, and in the past few weeks they've just really struggled. They gave Houston their best shot last week. I think that game could have easily went to overtime, and I think they're going to get getting back Khalil Shakir. I'm pretty sure. Let me go and look at the injury report. He's questionable. James Cook is also questionable for the Jets. They still are without Hassan Reddick, who was their number one option all season. He's still holding out. They obviously fired their coach Robert Saleh, which was a bit of a surprise. If you want to give your thoughts about that one, make the pick too. As your Jets fan, go for it. And I think in this spot, I just take the Bills. I think that -2.5 is basically the same as money line here. I think that Buffalo is going to want to show they're the class of the division. If they win this game, they can really put some separation on that division. And I think that the Jets will give their best shot here, but I think that the Bills will win it. I'd go somewhere. I wouldn't even take any alternative spread. I'd just take the Bills money line. But I mean, I don't know. Also, Breece Hall has not been himself this season. Braylon Allen's given him a run for his money at the running back position. He's only averaging 3.03 yards per carry. So I'm taking the Bills. I don't have too much to say about this game. I think that without Von Miller, though, they might have to rely on some other people in the pass rushing game. So we will see. I mean, as being not a fan of either of those teams, I don't necessarily care who wins this game, but I'm just taking the Bills. I think they've got the better quarterback at this point, and just a better overall team, better coach, obviously, because Jets fired theirs. So, yeah, that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, it seems like a tough game. I mean, I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible. Obviously, Brandon knows I like the New York Jets, JETS, right? We're going there. But I do believe both teams, they've been highly disappointing, both coming off 2 losses. Miserable play, to be honest. Josh Allen did not play well against the Ravens. He did not play up to expectations against the Houston Texans. And same can be said for Rodgers the last 2 weeks. Obviously, stunning loss against the Denver Broncos, a 10-9 score game, which was ridiculous. And then going to London, they had to do an insurmountable comeback, 17 points down. They almost were there, but then Rodgers threw a pick at the end when there was I think they were 25 yards out from a touchdown to be able to win the game by 1 point. So obviously both teams have been disappointing. Huge expectations for both teams to be in the playoffs. Now the Dolphins are going to be able to creep back in possibly after their bye week. But I like the Jets here. I think they got a lot to play for. Obviously, the Robert Saleh, the coach of the Jets, getting fired was kind of surprising. But I understand why the Jets wanted to move to a different direction. They're probably, they're desperate to try to spark something and make a change. And Rodgers was on record on the Pat McAfee show talking about it and saying that he has to embrace it, the team has to embrace it, and that he's not a frequent ayahuasca user.
Yeah.
But I understand, it's, change it could be looked at as daunting, but the Jets here, they got a lot to play for us, as well as the Bills. So I do expect it to be a really close game. I actually going to say it's going to be, surprisingly, I think it's going to be an over game. I think it's going to be an over game. They have 41 for the over, which would be kind of surprising. Jets have been, the 9-10 score game, even with the Bills having some struggles against the Ravens. But I see an over game here. On record, too, Josh Allen does struggle sometimes in these night games, but I like both teams keeping it close. If Cook is out or if he's not going to show up at this game, that's obviously a concern for the Bills because they do rely on him a lot. But I expect the Jets here to show out, and it's going to be a close game, though. But I do like Aaron Rodgers over 227 passing yards here. It seems like a pretty safe bet here. And I don't really know much to say about their receivers because Garrett Wilson's shown promise, but Lazard obviously has been Mr. Reliable for Rodgers. And maybe I expect someone different to show up for them. I could see Breon Allen, the rookie running back, who Rodgers likes to use sometimes for screen passes and different plays to kind of change it up from Brees Hall, right? So that could be some maybe X factor for the Jets here on this Monday night game.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And I think a parlay that people could want to do for this one would be, or not people want to do, just what I'm going to do because I didn't do a prop bet. 50 to win 1,050. Allen Lazard over 50 receiving yards and Josh Allen to rush for 2 touchdowns if James Cook doesn't play. I think that Josh Allen he's always around even money to get a rushing touchdown. I think maybe he's going to get 2 this week. And I think the over, like you said, it definitely feels like an over type of game. I feel like both these quarterbacks have something to prove coming off rough games. Rodgers has he's been able to move the ball. They've had some struggles in the red zone, and I think he's going to have new motivation because he said on the Pat McAfee show he loves Saleh and he didn't want to be fired, but there might be some cap to that. Rodgers, they were going to fire Hackett, who's like Rodgers' boy, and then they decided to get rid of the coach instead. So we shall see. It's going to be a good game. This week, there's a lot of good games. I mean, a lot of exciting football. This is really the point of the season where we figure out who's actually a contender, and starts tonight. So go Hawks. Hopefully I'm wrong on that pick and they win, but we shall see. And
one thing too, I was going to say is, there's a lot of pressure for both teams, but I guess there's a little bit less pressure for the Jets because they already did the head coaching change. So now they have to embrace the change. I mean, for the Bills, there's no excuse. 3 passes in a row with 16 seconds. Obviously they lose the game on a field goal against the Texans. So there's a lot of pressure on the Bills to perform in this game, especially for the coach. The coach knows it. So, that could be a factor too. I mean, the fire is there, right? To really perform for the Bills.
Awesome. So that's gonna do it for today. But we will go over our picks next week. We'll share any prop bet parlays for the people who watch us. If they want to share any of their thoughts, any of their winning bets, that's what it's all about. Building up the community and seeing if we can all make a little bit of money while enjoying some good football. So thanks everybody for tuning into the Hail Mary Parlay podcast, and we'll see you next time. Bye.